Hello everyone, welcome back to my YouTube channel Unfog with Dr. Atahar Parveen. Friends, we have started discussing 2024 CTET question paper. From the previous class, we have discussed child development pedagogy, and from this class, we are going to discuss mathematics part from CTET paper 2 of a 2014 July question paper. Friends, this is the high time for us to take things seriously because as we can see in the news and education minister is continuously talking about especially the more than 5,000 posts in HK region part of Karnataka for primary school teachers and high school teachers. So this is the time for us to take things seriously and start preparing rigorously for any exam which can be expected soon, right? It is tough for us to tell which exam comes first, GPSTR, PSTR or HSTR, because there are chances that all exams come together also. So till the notification we cannot say about all that, but what we can do is we can start preparing. Especially if you are an aspirant who is preparing for CTET, this is a golden chance for you, because when you are preparing for CTET, indirectly you are also preparing for other teacher recruitment exams in Karnataka. So in this journey, we are with you with maths and science and all other subjects also. But our main focus has been mathematics and science, especially for HSTR and GPSTR. But now we are trying to focus on PSTR with all subjects like English, GK, computer knowledge, EVS, mathematics and CTP. So we are trying to give the variety of classes in our YouTube channel Unfog with Dr. Atahar Parveen. So if you are an aspirant who is very serious with your exam preparation for all types of CETs and TETs, then please explore our channel and subscribe our channel. Also make sure that you share the videos with your friends and other aspirants, and also of course if you like the video and write your feedback in the comment section, it will be helpful for us to make more classes and help you all in all possible ways. Okay, now let us start with the mathematics part for CTET. I will try to solve maximum problems here with the short tricks and shortcuts, because as we all know in CTET there is very less time and the questions are very lengthy. But this is a very good practice while preparing for CTET, because this will surely help for all other teacher recruitment exams, because mathematics difficulty level is almost the same for all exams. But only thing is that if the exam is a little bit on a easier side like PSTR, then you will have little bit more time because the questions will be set such. But the pattern and understanding level is needed right from TET, from PSTR till HSTR, because without basics you cannot do any good mathematics in your exam. Okay, so let us start the class without wasting time now. So let's start with the first question from TET 2024 July question paper. Okay, so this is 2024 July. So the first question is, a teacher distributes different types of triangle shaped paper cuttings to the learners and tells them to measure and tabulate the angles in order to find the sum of angles. He tells them to note the result in each case. So this method of teaching is an example of, if you read the question carefully and try to understand what it's actually telling, is that here students themselves are measuring, observing and finding the rule instead of a teacher directly telling it, right? So the learners are trying to discover things here. So the method of the teaching which is used by the teacher here is actually discovery method, because the teacher is making learners to do everything by themselves. Okay, so rest of things, deductive, analytical and teacher-centered approach, I believe that you know what they actually mean. If you don't know, make sure to pause the video right now and recall all the other three options, definitions also, examples also, and what do they actually mean. We have discussed about all this in many of our previous classes, even during the time of TET also. So you can explore the channel and you will get to know many of the details related to other teaching approaches. Next question. The number of faces F, edges E and vertices V of a polyhedron are 7, 15 and X respectively. Then the value of 2F plus 3E minus 4X is. So to solve this problem, we have a very basic and very important formula. You know about it, right? We call it as Euler's formula. Faces plus vertices minus edges is equal to 2. If it is a tetrahedron, face will be 4, vertices will be 4, edges will be 6. If it is a cube, faces will be 6, vertices will be 8 and edges will be 12 and so on. So here in this problem they have clearly given us that face is number of faces is 7, number of vertices we have to find out, then only we can find out the value of 2f plus 3e minus 4x. So this is x right now, minus e. Number of edges they have given in the question is 15. Now this is equal to 2 as per our formula. With this I can find out x value, right? This will be equal to 2 plus 8. So this one will be 10. Now I have x value, right? So the expression they have given in the question is 2f plus 3e minus 4x. With this I have to substitute and then I'll get the correct answer from the options here, right? So 2 into faces given in the question is 7, edges is 15 and minus 4 into x just now I have found is 10. So this will give me 14 plus 45 minus 40, which will give us 19. So option 4 is the correct answer here. Okay, you can also do mental maths to find out x value, but then after finding out x value, make sure to write down the given expression and substitute so that you get the correct answer, because here the options you can see are nearby. 17, 18, 19, 20 all are nearby options. So in this case you should be careful while doing mathematics calculations. Okay. Next, this is the statistics question. See, statistics is such a chapter where we can see 1 to 2 questions compulsorily from all the exam point of views. Either it is right starting from TET, PSTR, GPSTR, HSTR, even CRIS also. So these are very common questions and are taken from general chapters which are frequently asked in all type of CETs. So that's why make sure that you watch this class completely till the end, because this is going to be a nice exercise class for you all. No matter which exam you are preparing for, you need to watch this class and work out these problems. Okay. So coming back to the question, marks obtained by some students of a class are 36, 37, 31, 42, 23, 38, 17, 18, 35, 25, 29 and 35. The difference of the mean and the range of the data is, so carefully you have to see the data list which is given in the question. From this, if you see carefully, the highest is 42. Then what is the lowest? Lowest is 17, right? Now highest value 42, lowest value 17. How do you find the range? You find the range by subtracting the highest minus lowest value, right? So this one will be 25. How do you find the mean? First you have to add up all the numbers here, all the marks which have obtained by the students here, right? So if you add all the marks from 36 till 35, your number is going to be 366. I have already added it. You take it as an assignment and add and see whether you are also getting 366 or no. Okay. And what are the number of students here? Number of students as per the question. See, count the marks. How many students? So many marks, right? Marks obtained by some students they are telling, right? So count the marks here. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. So how many number of students are there here? 12 students, because there are 12 number of marks here, right? So if I add up all the marks, I got 366. and number of students are 12. So what will be the mean marks here? So mean is going to be total marks divided by number of students here, right? So 12 ones are 12 threes are 0.0 if I write 12 fives are, right? So I have range, I have mean. The question is I should find out the difference between mean and range. So I have to subtract here, right? Sorry, this is 30.5, right? 12 threes are 0 also should come, right? 0.5. So here I have 30.5 minus 25. So that will give me the answer here, which is going to be 5.5. So the difference of mean and range of the given data is 5.5. Option 1 will be the correct answer here. Okay, you have to be careful with the mathematical calculations, because that will again lead you to wrong answer if you do some mistake while calculating, right? Okay, moving on to next question. If 2x plus 5y whole square minus 5 into 2x plus 5y minus 14 is equal to 2x plus 5y plus p into 2x plus 5y plus q, then value of p plus q is. See, whenever you see this type of complicated or lengthy expressions, you have to make things easy by giving a single alphabet to those expressions. 2x plus 5y whole square minus 5 into 2x plus 5y minus 14. In the right hand side we have 2x plus 5y plus p into 2x plus 5y plus q. While writing the expression, something you should have observed here if you are really attentive. What is it? See, these are all same. 2x plus 5y is there everywhere. So let me put this 2x plus 5y is equal to a. In that case, I will have a square minus 5a minus 14, right? So a square minus 5a minus 14 is a quadratic equation which can be factorized further, right? So I can write as a square minus 7a plus 2a minus 14. So I get a into a minus 7 plus 2 into a minus 7. So I have expression a minus 7 into a plus 2 now, which is the factorized version of the quadratic equation. What do I have in the right hand side? Here I have a, here I have a. So I have a plus p, a plus q. So if I compare left hand side and right hand side, clearly I have p is equal to minus 7, q is equal to 2. From the question I have to find out p plus q. So minus 7 plus 2 will give me minus 5. So option 2 will be the correct answer here, right? So how complicated it looked initially. As soon as we replaced 2x plus 5y by a, things became so easy. So this is the best way. You have to make a tough sum into a easier version by substituting the bigger expression into a small alphabet, then further factorizing it. Okay, clear, right? This way you can save time also, this way you can get correct answer also. But to do all this, you have to practice, practice and practice. Only then you can understand these strategies of solving different type of problems. Okay. Next question. This is from commercial mathematics, and commercial mathematics is also compulsorily minimum one question is asked in all the teacher recruitment exams, and for that matter for in all competitive exams also, right? So you have to make sure that there are certain chapters which are must for preparation in your exam. So let us solve this one. A trader buys 12 fans for rupees 24,000. He marks each fan at 25% above the cost price. If he sells all fans by giving 10% discount on the marked price, then his overall profit in rupees is. So you have to understand the story first. Here they are telling that there is certain cost price, that is for 12 fans it is 24,000. The trader is buying for this price the fans, and then he is giving marked price 25% of the cost price. Then he is selling that entire thing again, whatever the price is there, no, with that again he is giving 10%. You have to find the profit of the trader. Now what is the marked price? Marked price is this much, right? What was the cost price? It was 24,000, right? Plus, for marked price you have to make 25% of 24,000, right? So I have 24,000 plus, the zeros will get cancelled here. I will have 6,000 here. So totally it is 30,000. So this is the marked price of 12 fans now. Again, what did the trader do? He gave discount on this price. How much discount he gave? He gave 10% of marked price. So this is the thing. Then I have 10 by 100 into 30,000, right? So this one will be 3,000 for me now, right? Now what is the selling price the trader used to sell the fans now? 30,000. Upon that he gave discount of 3,000. So his selling price became 27,000. While he actually purchased, how much it was? It was the cost price was 24,000. Now the question is we have to find out the profit. So the profit is equal to selling price minus cost price. So this is going to be 27,000 minus 24,000. So this is our 3,000 rupees. So even after adding 25% of the cost price, just because he gave 10% discount and made the customers happy, still he got profit of 3,000. Option 4. Next question. One question again from algebra part. A minus b plus c whole square minus a minus b minus c whole square by b minus a is equal to. As I already told you, if you get a expression which you find is little bit lengthy or bigger, what you have to do, you have to write a alphabet. You have to replace it with the alphabet and make things easy. Now here if I observe carefully, I have a minus b here. Here also I have a minus b, right? And then I have plus c and minus c. So what I am going to do now, I will give you alphabet here, maybe p, and then for c I'll give q, right? P plus q whole square minus p minus q whole square, right? Now again if I am finding it little bit lengthy, what I can again do is I'll put it as x. I will put p plus q as x, p minus q as y. So x square minus y square. I also have a formula which is a square minus b square is equal to a plus b into a minus b. So x square minus y square is equal to x plus y into x minus y, right? Now I will just substitute things. In place of x, what I have to write? I have to write p plus q. In place of y, what I have to write? P minus q, right? So I have to be careful with the signs here. So here I have p plus q, but again because I have minus y, I have minus p plus q here because of the sign, right? So this here it will get cancelled and here p will get cancelled. Here I will have 2p, here I will have 2q. So this will give me 4pq, right? Now from the question I have a 4 PQ. What is P? P is A minus B. That is what I have done here, right? And Q is C, right? In the denominator from the question, I have B minus A, right? This I have to solve now. Now, I can write minus 4B minus A into C in the numerator, right? Because I want to cancel this and this, I have taken minus sign outside. So, I have minus 4C. This is the answer, minus 4C. How things became easy here? Just by substituting the given expression into single alphabets. Again I came back and again I substituted and I found my answer without any confusion. Okay. Next question. Which of the following is not true? You have to be careful with the questions of this type. You have to find out which of the given options is not true. See the first option, expression cannot be simplified further. It can be simplified actually. 5 5s are 25, right? 5 plus 5 is 10. So you can split and you can simplify. Next option, the value of a variable in an equation which satisfy the equation is called a solution of the equation. That's true. That's what we do in algebra, right? Linear algebra, we do it. And usually that is how we define a solution with. Next, option 3, 3 plus 4 into 5 is not a mathematical expression. It is a mathematical expression for sure. So I have to find out which is not true. So option 3 is not true. It is a mathematical expression, right? Next, question number 38. The domain of learning that deals with attitudes and values is known as. See the options, affective, psychomotor, knowledge and cognitive domain. See actually, cognitive domain is related with thinking, reasoning, knowledge. Psychomotor domain means it is related with skills and physical activities. Affective domain means related to attitudes, emotions and values of the learners, right? Here they are asking about domain of learning that deals with attitudes. So attitudes means option 1 only, affective domain, right? Other one, knowledge domain, you can just directly understand whenever it is given in the question only, because we know the meaning of knowledge in simple English words also, right? So here affective domain is the right answer. Next question. According to National Curriculum Framework 2005, which of the following process is least important in mathematics? So what does NCF 2005 say? Of course, NCF discourages rote learning and shortcut based approaches, right? So that's why here if you see all the 4 options, you will understand that finding shortcuts in mathematics is given least importance in the NCF 2005. Next question. M is a point on side AB of a triangle ABC such that AM is equal to BM is equal to CM. If angles A and B are respectively x and 70 degree, then the value of 3x plus 25 degree is equal to. So in problems based on geometry, triangles, quadrilaterals, wherever angles and all that are there and the figure is not given, try to draw a figure, then only things will be easy for you. Okay, so we have a triangle ABC as per the question and M is the midpoint of side AB. Okay, and they are telling that AM, BM are equal, also CM is equal, like this. And they are telling that if angle A and B are x and 70 degree respectively, you have to find the value of 3x plus 25 degree. Now understand that what is the situation wherein these 3 lengths will be equal. This can be possible only if these are radii of a circle, right? So don't go with my dimensions. I have not drawn the circle properly. This is actually AB should be the diameter. If it is a diameter, then only your AM, BM and CM will be radii of this circle. If you understand this, then your problem is solved here, right? See, in this triangle ABC, we have angle A plus angle B plus angle C equal to 180 degree, right? A is x, B is 70. What about C? See, if AB is a diameter and angle C is falling on the circumference, then it should be a 90 degree with the theorem, right? There is one theorem which says that the angle in a semicircle is 90 degree if it is touching the circumference, right? So this one will be a right angle. With this you can easily find out your x. I have 180 minus here I will have 160. X will be 20. Now easily I can find out the value of 3x plus 25, which is equal to 3 into 20 plus 25. So this one will be 60 plus 25 or 85 degree. So the correct answer will be option 4 here. So unless and until you understand that there is a circumcircle around the triangle and these 3 lengths are radii, till then you cannot solve this problem easily because you will not get angle C there. Okay, you get my point, right? Okay. Next, The sum of the largest and smallest fractions among 6 by 7, 2 3 by 5, 3 by 8 and 2 8 by 15 is. First you have to find out the largest and smallest fraction. Then only you can find out the sum between them, right? You have these fractions 6 by 7, 2 3 by 5, 3 by 8, 2 8 by 15. See, 6 by 7 and 3 by 8 are less than 1, right? Because you have denominators greater than the numerator. 2 3 by 5 and 2 8 by 15 are more than 2, right? Now in 2 3 by 5 and 2 8 by 15, 2 3 by 5 will be the largest because you have less difference between the numerator and the denominator, right? So this one will be the largest. And which one will be the smallest? Smallest will be 3 by 8 because you have more difference between the numerator and the denominator, right? So if you understand these concepts, things will become easy. Now what is the largest fraction? 2 3 by 5. What is the smallest? 3 by 8. I have to find the sum like this, right? Now I'll keep 2 in my mind. I will first simplify 3 by 5 and 3 by 8. So my LCM will be 40. With this I will have 5 ones are 5 8s are, so 8 3s are will be 24 plus 8 5s are 40, so I'll have 15. So this one will give me 39 by 40. Now I'll keep the 2 as it is, which I kept in my mind. This is the shortest method you can use to solve fractions of this type, especially when you have a mixed fraction. Don't go to convert in a improper fraction and all that. Okay, first see the options. Everything is there in mixed fractions only, right? Then why waste time? Your correct answer will be option 2. Okay, so these are the shortcut methods which you have to use in your exam and save time. For this you should be knowing the concept. Then only things will be easy for you. You should understand that mixed fraction means it is more than 2 here. This is also more than 2 here. This is a proper fraction, right? So it will be less than 1 here. You have to understand all that, okay? Next question. The ratio of two numbers is 3:7 and their LCM is 630. Then sum of the LCM and HCF of these numbers is. So we have the ratio 3:7. So numbers will be 3x and 7x, right? LCM what they are telling? It is 630. Now if there are numbers like this 3 and 7, these are co-prime numbers, right? I mean they don't have any common factor other than 1, right? So what will be the LCM then? So LCM will be your 3 into 7 into x. That x is the common factor, which is also going to be the highest common factor here because 3 and 7 are co-prime, right? So LCM they are given in the question. Here I have 3 into 7 into x, or I have 21x is equal to 630, or x is going to be equal to 30. Now this is also going to be my HCF, right? In the question they are asking the sum of LCM and HCF. So LCM 630 they are given, HCF we have found. Our answer will be 660. So option 2 will be the correct answer here. Okay, to understand all this, you have to watch one video from our YouTube channel wherein we have given you all the shortcuts, especially from number system. There is one video. You can watch that video. It will help you with the many such short tricks. Okay. Next question. Area of a right triangle is 240 centimeter. So there is a right triangle whose area is 240 centimeter. One side other than hypotenuse is 30 centimeter. This is hypotenuse. This one will be height. So what will be the other side? 30 centimeter as per the question. You have to find the perimeter here. So we have area of the triangle is equal to half into base into height, right? Now this is our area. They have given in the question, which is 240 centimeter square. Half into base is 30. Height I can find out now, right? Here 2 ones are 2 15s, or I can cancel it like this. So I have h is equal to 24 into 2 by 3. 3 ones are 3 8s are. So h is equal to 16 centimeter. But I have to find the perimeter, right? For perimeter, I should know hypotenuse also, I should know height also, and base 30 centimeter they have already given. Hypotenuse I have to find out because I don't know still. So I'll apply Pythagoras theorem. It will be square root of 16 square plus 30 square. Right. Now I can sit and do calculations and find out hypotenuse, or I can also know that there is something known as Pythagorean triplet, which is 16, 30, 34. There are many Pythagorean triplets other than this. Your assignment is you write down 5 examples of Pythagorean triplets in the comment section. Let us see whether you all know or not, right? So here, if you know that these are Pythagorean triplets, then you will not go for further calculation. In place of hypotenuse, you will directly write 34, because that is going to be 34, because 30, 16, 34 is a combination with the Pythagorean triplet, right? Now height we have found out is 16 and this is 30. So our perimeter is going to be equal to 80 centimeter. So option 3 will be the correct answer here. Okay. So what is the short trick here? The Pythagorean triplet. Next question. A sum invested at 10% per annum for 2 years becomes rupees 3,267 when the interest is compounded annually. What will be the simple interest on the same sum at the same rate in 2.5 years? So here you have to understand the story. A person is investing some amount of money. The rate of interest is 10% per year. This money is kept for 2 years. Okay, so this amount will be getting the compound interest. After 2 years, the total amount became 3,267. You have to find out the simple interest in 2.5 years, right? 2.5 years means 2.5 years, right? Now we know that simple interest formula is PTR by 100. If I have all these things, I'll substitute and find out the answer. But I don't have the value of principal here. But I have the value of amount. So I should be knowing one formula related to amount and the principal. It is P into 1 plus R by 100 whole square. So amount is 3267. Principal I can now find out. Rate is 10 by 100 whole square. So this one will give me 3267 is equal to P into 1.1 whole square, right? This will get cancelled, right? I have 1 by 10, right? So 1 plus 0.1 will be 1.1 whole square. Then P will be equal to 3267. 1.1 is nothing but 11. If you remove the decimal point, 11 square is 121, right? So write back the decimal 1.21 like this. Now this thing, if you try to divide, no, write like this: 3267 into 100 divided by 121. Okay, so this is 11 11s are 11 297s are, then 11 ones are 11 2s are 11 7s are. So 2700. This is your principal. Okay, now you can easily find out the simple interest. Principal is 2700 into time is 2 years into rate is 10. Sorry, not 2 years, time is 2.5 years. That is what we have to find out in the this question, right? They are given 2.5. Sorry, 2.5 into 10 divided by 100. So this will get cancelled and our simple interest is going to be equal to 27 into 25. So 25 25s is 625. Then we have 50 more. 625 plus 50 will give us 675. So this is our simple interest, rupees 675. So option 1 will be the correct answer here. Okay, how did I do multiplication? I will tell you once again. See, 25 into 25 is a standard number which we should know is 625. I have 27 means I have to add 2 25s to this, right? So that is how I did mental maths to find out the answer without doing a big of multiplication. Okay, this is a simple short trick you should understand to save time, especially for this type of bigger problems. And this problem is a HSTR level problem actually. Even you can expect this problem in CRISE also. You can expect this problem in GPSTR also. And you never know, if they want to give one tough question, they can also ask this type of question in PSTR also. Of course, TET, though they are asking only, this is a CTET question paper. Okay, clear, right? Next question. How many natural numbers between 1 and 500 are divisible by each of the numbers 3, 5 and 7? So, 3, 5 and 7. So, number divisible by these numbers must be divisible by their LCM also, right? So, if you do LCM, this is 5 3s are 15, you have 105. This is your LCM, right? Now you have to count multiples of 105 between 1 and 500. Between 1 and n. Right? Now there is a formula which is a short trick. Capital N by small n. Right? Now what is a small n? Small n is 105. What is capital N? It is 500. So in order to find number of multiples, I just have to divide 500 and 105. This will give me 4. So there are 4 natural numbers between 1 and 500 which are divisible by 3, 5 and 7. To make things easy, what I have done LCM and I have used this short trick, capital N by small n. Okay, we can do it manually also, but it will take lot of time. So these are the short tricks which you can use in your examination. Right from now you should start practicing. So this CTET question paper should be a benchmark for your exam preparation, because all type of varieties we have solved here. Okay, anyway, we'll continue this in the next class, and we really hope that this class helps you. If you are interested in joining our paid classes, you will get all the details in the description below this video. Also, you can contact us, you can join us in Telegram group and Telegram channel, and you can also write your doubts in the comment section. Thank you. All the best. Bye.